Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Facebook Live. I'm Saquon. Before we get started, always remember you can watch this and listen to this on your own time. You can do that by going to our InForum YouTube channel and subscribing to that for notifications and things like that. You can always find this on your favorite podcast platform, and you can find us on inforum.com/podcasts under the InForum Minute. Before we get to our top headlines of this morning, I wanted to let you know about a helicopter that you might have seen. If you live in Fargo, you probably might have seen that helicopter kind of circling around in the area. And we actually heard about it right after our show this morning, so we went outside and tried to figure out what was going on. We were making calls throughout the morning as well. And we have not gotten any sort of press release on this from police just yet, but here's what we do know. We know that there's some sort of law enforcement operation going on, or at least there was that operation happening this morning. We did hear back from Fargo Police PIO, and she is telling us that the Fargo Police Department is partnering with several law enforcement agencies on a planned proactive operation, and more information on this is expected later this morning. So of course we'll bring you that update if we can get that before our 11 o'clock newscast. Otherwise, you can always stay tuned to inforum.com and our evening newscasts as well. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know, because I know some of you guys probably live in the Fargo area, and if you heard a helicopter that was kind of buzzing around for about 20 minutes, that's what was going on. So more information as to what agencies and things like that are expected later this morning as well. Okay, today we know a Minnesota man accused of killing his wife, which of course led to this month-long hunt for him by officers. He's going to be beginning his trial today. 45-year-old Eric Reinbold is charged with second-degree murder, and prosecutors are saying back in July of last year, he stabbed and killed his wife at a home near Oakley, Minnesota. Well, then he went on the run for nearly a month, and then he was spotted on a trail camera, which is when he got arrested. So if convicted, he could face up to 40 years in prison. His trial will last until October 7th. We're also expected to learn the name of a driver, a Jamestown UPS driver today. He was killed, or they were killed in a crash with a fuel tanker on a county highway just south of Jamestown. So that happened at around 10 yesterday morning, right off of Highway 281, at around 10 yesterday morning. Again, investigators say that the 37-year-old Jamestown man tried to swerve when there was a fuel tanker in front of him that was slowing down to make a turn. Well, he rear-ended that semi and then eventually landed in the ditch. But we, of course, hope to have that name update for you in our 11 o'clock newscast, of course, our evening newscasts as well. Okay, right now we know Cass County deputies are investigating a crash involving a Fargo police officer who was hit in a squad car just outside of the police station. So right now specifically, they're actually waiting for some dash cam video from that squad car, and it happened just before 4 yesterday afternoon. Investigators tell us that the officer did have its emergency lights and sirens on when that crash happened. We also know that they went to the hospital on their own to get treatment, but more information expected today. Also new this morning, we know that a Valley Bus employee is on leave right now, as its general manager is saying that he slapped a student who has special needs. So this happened last Thursday when the student spit on that bus driver, and that's when he slapped that Fargo student. And this employee, we kind of looked back at his records, and he's been with this company for 20 years now, and he's never had any sort of incident like this. So we do know right now Valley Bus leaders are working with Fargo Public Schools to figure out what they're going to do about this and what their next steps are. So of course we'll bring you that update once we know more. Cass County commissioners have also selected the company who's going to be drafting up some plans for the jail's expansion. So they just unanimously voted for Klein McCarthy Architects to take on this project. I mean, it's going to be worth $40 million. So it's expected to have nearly 100 new jail cells, along with some general improvements made to the actual facility itself. And that expansion should be wrapped up by 2025. So kind of a lengthy project there, but of course it's inevitable. And then we also know, let's talk about student loan debt relief. More than 900,000 borrowers in Minnesota are eligible for that and could benefit from it. And then we also know close to 82,000 borrowers in North Dakota as well. Student loan forgiveness plan. Again, if you are not familiar with this, let's just recap kind of what you would be getting out of this. If you are a Pell Grant recipient, actually, let's start with people who did not get a Pell Grant. If you did not get a Pell Grant, you are eligible to get up to $10,000 of your federal student loans to be forgiven. But then if you did get a Pell Grant, double that. So that's kind of the eligibility there. Lydia's about to go on in a second here, so just be on the lookout for that. Yeah, she's got to watch Ginger Seed to figure out when she's going to go. But yeah, that's what's happening. Of course, we know that the Biden administration does have plans to get those applications for that relief up and running by next month. So coming up very soon here. And then we also know that the relief could hit by the end of this year. Lydia's about to go on.
And a live look outside for you right now with clouds rolling in from the north. You can see that cloudy sky in Grand Forks with more sun down to the south, Fargo, Wapton, sitting with a pretty bluebird sky right now. It is a little bit cool. We have 47 degrees here in Fargo, 49 in Jamestown, and 48 in Fergus Falls. A little warmer up to the north where you had that blanket of clouds throughout the overnight. Everyone's feeling the wind. It's picking up. It's going to be out of the northwest today at about 15 to 25 sustained, gusting anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour. So if you have lightweight decorations, make sure you wave them down.
And there is your forecast.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the perk about this. When you do your cut-ins, it's like everyone gets, exactly. So that's very nice. All right, let's talk national. We just learned that the Washington Monument is closed because it was vandalized last night. We're hearing from United States Park Police that someone splashed red paint all over and then wrote a profane message on the base of the monument. This all happened last night. And they did mention that they do have a man in custody right now. Park Police are not sure when this will reopen or if it's going to be affecting public visitation, which is scheduled to open for later this morning. So we'll keep you updated on that. We also know overnight Hurricane Fiona was upgraded to a Category 4 storm. So that means winds of the hurricane now are reaching 130 miles per hour at least. Storm right now is in the Turks and Caicos Islands heading towards Bermuda. Thousands in the Turks and Caicos Island right now are without power, as well as the 1.5 million people in Puerto Rico, as we've been telling you about for the past 2 days. And we know at least 3 people have died in the storm. So that's the death toll went up by 1 from when we last reported that. So of course, yeah. And then we also know that a tropical depression over the central Atlantic Ocean has now strengthened into Tropical Storm Gaston. It was just near Portugal as of last night. This is the 7th named system now of the Atlantic hurricane season. So other than increased surf for the islands, of course, Gaston is not expected to have any sort of impact on land. So really good news. As Dylan and Lydia have been saying and referring it to, it's kind of like a hurricane for the fish. So not expected on land. We also know right now investigators in Chicago are kind of sifting through all of this rubble, this aftermath of an apartment building explosion, and 8 people had to go to the hospital for it, because of it, I should say. We are learning that some of them have really severe burns, 3 of them in serious condition this morning. Investigators are saying that the 4th floor of the building collapsed, and even neighboring buildings had to be evacuated because of just the nature of this collapse. So we're working to learn how many people in total had to be displaced because of this collapse. But yeah, gosh, I mean, you might even be scrolling through Twitter or your social media platforms this morning, seeing some of that video, because it was incredible video in kind of the worst way, right? I mean, just pieces scattered along streets of Chicago, kind of crazy to see. So yeah, we'll keep following that for you as well. Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, 9 to 11 WDAY Extra, InForum.com. You already know Hot Mic, Dom Izzo is the biggest sports junkie, so he's going to have a lot to talk about this morning, I'm sure. Make sure you go join him. And before we wrap this up, just wanted to let you guys know, don't forget, for 99 cents a month for your first 3 months, you can get an all-access pass on InForum.com. So if you haven't taken advantage of that yet, make sure you do so. Not sure how long that offer lasts, but you can do that just by going on InForum.com/subscribe. All right, everybody, don't forget, we got our 11 o'clock newscast set to air here in less than 3 hours now with Becky Parker and Dylan Vogt, so make sure you go join them. Lots of updates to come there. And then, of course, we don't end our coverage there. We got our evening newscast starting at 4, going to 5, 6, 9, and 10. And we'll be back here tomorrow morning on First News. I'm going to be out at Sanford Health talking a little bit more about the importance of vaccines, flu vaccines or flu shots, I guess. And I'm even going to get one myself. So I've never done that on live television before, but that's going to be interesting. Dylan is going to be talking a little bit more about frost, I'm sure. Maybe touch on a little bit more on tropics. We'll see. But of course, he did talk about that frost potential for tomorrow morning as well. So make sure you got those scrapers handy. It is that time again. All right, everybody, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning from 5 to 7. Have a great day.